and welcome to another edition of Tribulation Ready Survival. I'm Michael, and today we have what is going to be called a grab bag. One of my favorite YouTube channels, Virtual Railfan, puts that kind of thing together where it's just a bunch of random stuff that's hopefully interesting to the viewer. So here's how we're going to do it today. So we've got a couple of topics I'm going to talk about today. And so let's just talk a little bit about what's going on here at TRS. We've been putting in our gardens, our vegetable gardens, our herb gardens. We've been putting in. So, yes, we've been very busy with putting in our gardens this year. We've done some new things. We've got some things that we still haven't done yet, to include some blackberry bushes and raspberry bushes. So we're doing that. I'm growing corn this year, which is something I don't normally do, but I've never tried it here. So let's give it a try. So let's talk about what happened last week with the videos. I had a couple videos up. Actually, I had one video up. I was working on a second. I was working on a concept of the bushcraft fishing trap, a concept that I've seen work. I've even done it before, but the fact of the matter is, I wasn't supposed to do the video. It just wasn't supposed to, and I pushed through it. One of my characteristics is that when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I will muddle through everything I can as long as I can, and ultimately that's what I did. I failed. I failed at the video. I failed with everything that went along with it, and I wasn't supposed to put that video out. I am a skilled fisherman. I'm not bragging. And so the whole thing, including fishing, just it was put there, I believe, to humble me and to see if I would listen to what God wanted me to do. And I did not. I put the video out and I wasn't supposed to. And everything became a failure at that point. And in law enforcement, we would call it fruit of the poisonous tree. So basically, if you are in the middle of a criminal case and you yourself violate somebody's civil rights or commit a crime in the course of that investigation, everything from that point on is absolutely poison. The case is destroyed. You're not going to be able to use any of that evidence, any of that testimony, any of the whatever, and you've discredited yourself. So it's one of those things you got to be really careful about in law enforcement. But in regular life, it works the same. You know, you put something in there, or you say something or do something, and it isn't right, or you're not supposed to be doing it in the first place, and everything just spirals down into the abyss, if you will. It's just not going to work. And that's what I had last week. So I needed to put a video out this week for you guys. And I had a couple of things that I wanted to do, and those weren't going to work. I want to put out good information to you guys. So it's not for lack of ideas or lack of certain things. I got to do what God wants me to do. And here it is, this video. So let's talk about something else going on. So if you've watched this channel for a period of time, you know that my wife and I forage, and she does lots more foraging than I do. She does a lot of the research, and it's interesting, but it's just not my thing. So my wife went out foraging the other day, and she got a couple things that she needed, some wild lettuce and whatnot. And we went out today to go back and pick up some more. And we went to the same areas, and the lovely landscaping people that work here have sprayed all along the areas that we work or that we were going to go with some sort. I'm going to say, I'm not going to mention the brand, but a vegetation killer. And everything you can see on 3 feet each side of the place where we were at, the walking path we were on, just dead. It's like somebody went through with a flamethrower. And so we ended up not foraging in those areas. And so what is that? What am I trying to say? Well, one, foraging is hard. Not only just for identification, but trying to get away from where man has trampled and trespassed on God's not products, but God's natural cycle and way of things. And we're seeing a lot of that today, not just with weed killers. And it's weird how things relate to other things. Today's food prices, we have inflation and all that stuff, and we're not getting political here, but the cost of everything is going up. And here we've learned that most cattle, the stuff you buy at your regular big box store, they're starting to use mRNA vaccines in those animals. I will not consume those. I wouldn't get the vaccine in my body in the first place, and I'm not going to eat it, at least willingly. Or knowingly. So at this point, I've pretty much stopped eating the mass-produced, mass-grown beef and beef products if I can. I have started to train my body to eat less and gone down to 2 meals a day and cut out beef. So there's no steaks or whatever. Chicken and fish at this point. Chicken comes from the store. We're getting there. But the fish is the fish that I catch. If I don't catch fish, essentially, if I don't have chicken and I don't catch fish, well, then I don't eat meat. And that's what it's come down to. Plus, fishing is fishing for food is different than sport fishing. And when you fish for food, you gotta catch food, and it makes you get better at catching food. And so, yeah, that's kind of what's going on here. We got a couple of other things that I really think I should say. Hang on. Okay, so this being a survival channel, I asked some questions to you guys on the Facebook page about what you guys were interested in. And I'll be honest with you, when it comes to things like preaching to people, I don't do that very often. I'm not skilled in it. And I haven't really, you'll see some of my videos, I kind of get there. But I just don't find that being my gift. So, what I do is I try to give you guys as much information as I can from what I know and what I learn. And sometimes you guys learn along with me, and I learn along with doing the video. So you might look at one of our previous videos, and it's called The Book of Enoch. I kind of explained a little bit about it. But it was written for people in our time. It was a book that was removed from the Bible several, a couple hundred years ago or whatnot. It's still in the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible, and it is a book that I believe every one of us needs to have at least read once, and I am currently going on my third time reading it as we speak. I was reading just a little bit ago. So here's kind of this little theme of things being manipulated by men, as we were talking about earlier. Currently, it has been confirmed by many government agencies that they are manipulating the weather. And how and why they're doing it, we're not going to sit here and throw out conspiracy theories. The fact is, they've admitted that they are doing it, and it's not just the United States government; it's other places too. But let's get to what the deal is, what I think it is. We had a rain here the other day, and it was just not right. We had this low bank of clouds roll in, and it rained for probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. It was kind of a drizzly mist rain, kind of whatever. And everything looked really wet outside. There was no water that had made it to the ditch, to the gutter. Everything was just covered with this nice heavy wetness. And moments later, after these clouds, just literally as the clouds peeled away, within, I'm going to say, less than 30 minutes, I was outside and I was pulling weeds, and none of that water had soaked into the ground at all. Like, it was just gone. It almost didn't feel like water. And I know it sounds weird and crazy or whatever, but it was not a saturating rain. The saturating rain that it should have been. When I even had to water my gardens heavily that day, and I shouldn't have, with the way that it was raining. So man is manipulating things that God has put in place for us to eat, to grow our vegetables, to do all these things. Man is putting their finger on a lot of these things that they just need to leave alone. Men have, I'm just going to say it, have bastardized a lot of things. From the food we eat to the air we breathe to the water we drink. And in the book of Enoch, it states that there are angels that are in charge of portals that are used to bring forth frost and snow and rain and wind and all of that. That's how God brings the weather. And these people, mankind has done everything from the Garden of Eden to this point in time to manipulate the things that God has blessed us with on this earth. Now, how does that work? Does mankind just come up with all of this knowledge? Absolutely not. The book of Enoch and the Bible itself, the 66 books in the Bible, state that angels had come down. I believe it's Genesis, the late part of Genesis, I believe. Angels had gotten together, and not all of them, but a bunch of them had gotten together and decided that women on earth were beautiful, and they came down to earth. They made a decision. They came down to earth. They mated with human women. The angels changed their form to something that was pleasing to the human women. They mated with them, and these offspring were known as men of renown, or giants, or Nephilim. And you need to do your own research on that. I'm not going to sit here. I don't have time to explain all that. But that is, in fact, what happened. So these angels that came down had heavenly knowledge that humans didn't have. They taught them war, how to make instruments of war to kill people. They taught them makeup. They taught them herbs. They taught them writing. They taught them all sorts of things. And that incursion, if you will, of the angels coming down and just basically decimating what God's creation in man was one of the reasons for the flood that Noah had to endure with his family. They were wiped off the face of the earth, but they still remain. These evil entities still remain on the earth, I believe, and they are working in men today. We're getting genetically modified crops, vaccines, and all these things. People that, I mean, literally, if you just take a look at the world, it's gone mad. None of that, if you look in the Bible, none of what is going on is something that is natural or should be happening without men corrupting all of it. And when that happens, it's judgment. It's called judgment. And what we're seeing now, I think, with all of the mass shootings, with all of the migrant population coming in, plagues come in different forms. So, you know, it's a crazy world, and it isn't going to get any better. We're going to pray about it. I encourage you to. But as long as we're under judgment, it's not going to get any better. The only thing that I think is going to happen is that Israel, God's people, are going to be removed from and not have to endure all of those plagues. And I might be wrong. That's a topic for debate. And if you want to talk about that, let's get on Facebook. Let's get on the comments down below, and we'll blow that conversation up. Let's go. I might be wrong, and you might be right, or I might be right, but we don't know. The fact of the matter is, we can prove that man continues in their sin to manipulate the blessings that God has given us here on the earth. And it just gets worse and worse and worse until it's time for Yeshua to return. And another misconception, especially this is something that the Christian church has brought back or brought up, is kind of peddling, if you will, that when Yeshua returns, everything's going to be hunky-dory and milk and honey and balloons and cotton candy. No. If you read your Bible, when Yeshua returns, he is returning with fire, and he is going to punish the people here on the earth and the evil entities that have caused all of this destruction. He is coming back with a vengeance, man. And that might be interesting to see. What are your thoughts on that? So, like I said, it was a grab bag, y'all. I do have some videos in the works that I'm working on that I'm going to be bringing to you. But sometimes you just got to sit down, pull out a bunch of topics that need to be talked about, and put that information out. And I believe that God wanted me to put this one out. And so I thank you for spending some time with me. Hopefully the video wasn't too boring or too long. And as I stated earlier, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell over here, wherever it may be. And that way you get notified when we put out a new video. And if you are not a member of our Facebook page, please get a hold of us on Facebook. And it's members only kind of thing. And we just kind of try to keep out a bunch of spam and other garbage that tries to sink its teeth into our Facebook page. But get a hold of us there. We'll get you hooked up with the Facebook page, and we can talk about that. We have lots of topics. And so you can kind of hang out with us a little bit. With that being said, I thank you for spending time with us today, and have a good one.